as a future ICE detention center. ICE confirmed to Fox that it's purchased a facility, but would not say whether this is the exact location. Democratic U.S. Congressman Pat Ryan, who represents the area, has led opposition to the plans. He held a rally in late January.
Oh, what's that you say? Democrats are leading opposition to the plans? Weird. Tell me something that's new. Now, all of this is happening, and you can see that the administration has a clear strategy when it comes to mass deportations. This is true. It's being proven before our eyes. That being said, two things can be true at the same time. The drawdown in Minnesota, the left is going to spin as a huge, massive victory. And Tom Homan did announce over the weekend that he's staging security forces in Minnesota to protect ICE and border agents when they're targeted by the left. And he says that the force is going to remain there to make sure that local police coordination stays in place. This is one of the reasons why the surge is ending. We're having more cooperation from local police. Tom Homan says, don't worry. Things are still going to be proceeding as planned.
Last week, you announced the months-long operation known as Metro Surge in Minnesota is winding down. ICE, of course, is going to maintain a presence in the state, but not at the levels we've seen in recent weeks. If things keep winding down, when should that surge be over?
Well, look, we already removed well over 1,000 people, and as of Monday or Tuesday, we'll remove several hundred more. We'll get back to the original footprint, with the exception of the agents there to do the fraud investigation. Will stay there and continue their work until they're done. The agents investigating the church issue, where the people went into the church, they'll stay and get that work done. But there will be a small force, a security force, what we call RFQs. Our security forces that will respond to when our agents are out and they get surrounded by agitators and things got out of control. Mm-hmm. And they'll remain for a short period of time just to make sure the coordination, the agreements we have with local and state law enforcement stay in place and they respond to a public safety threat when needed. And so hopefully those security forces, that small footprint security forces can be removed really fairly quickly. I'm hoping.
Now, when it comes to cooperation with local police, we've already seen some of it step up. One of the big things that we saw last week was those impromptu road blockades that the leftist agitators were using to stop cars with out-of-state plates have been dismantled, and they were dismantled by local Minnesota police. So you are seeing more cooperation, but again, two things can be true at once. The left is going to spin this as a win. They're going to get oxygen from this. They're going to get energy from this, and we're going to see more violence, more escalation, and a more determined left. And it could also be true that Tom Homan is telling 100% the truth. I mean, by the numbers, Operation Metro Surge in Minneapolis was a huge success. They found over 3,000 missing kids. 3,000 missing kids. They also arrested 4,000 illegal aliens. These aren't numbers to just bat an eye at. These are success. This is what success looks like. You find 3,000 kids, you arrest 4,000 illegal aliens. That's massive. And Tom Homan was on the weekend shows kind of laying out the successes that they had, which we need him out there telling the story because we know the mainstream media is not going to do it for him.
Over 3,300 children. You know, the last administration, over 500,000 children smuggled in this country, released to unvetted sponsors. They lost track of 300,000 of them. President Trump has already found 145,000 of them. In Minnesota alone, over 3,300 missing children we found that the last administration wasn't even looking for.
3,364 kids were found. That was the exact total. And then when it comes to illegal aliens, there was a lot of them, over 4,000. We're talking about rapists. We're talking about murderers. We're talking about gang members. We're talking about child sodomizers. Over 4,000 of them were arrested. That was confirmed by Tom Emmer out of Minnesota. Again, it's a dicey situation. Two things can be true at once. The drawdown is going to energize the left. It's going to lead to more escalation in more cities. It's going to lead to more violence. And it does seem like there was an unwillingness from the Trump administration to meet those protests with the force that they needed to be met with. And I think that we can all agree that we wanted to see more force used against those leftist agitators, those paid operatives, and those ideologues. I wanted to see boots on necks. I wanted to see more arrests. It doesn't seem like that's happening. They're slowing it down. They're focusing on the illegal aliens. That's fine. That's fine. In the grand scheme of things, this is going according to the plan. I don't think Operation Metro Surge, thousands of agents, were ever in the grand scheme of planning. That's fine. That doesn't mean the left isn't going to be energized by this. Trust me, they are. And you're going to see more violent opposition in many blue cities because of this drawdown. So where does the next surge take place? That's where the next violent leftist protest is going to take place. They feel like they won. And one of the reasons they feel like they've won is because you have the leftist leaders in Minnesota who are still berating ICE, still screaming and yelling and gnashing their teeth when it comes to this administration and what needs to be done. They're signaling to the left that this strong attitude and this rhetoric and this pushback worked. It's an absolute mess. Tom Homan had a message for Mayor Fry and Governor Walz out of Minnesota, especially because they're looking at this like it was a big victory. And you can see that in the statements that they're making.
$103 million in economic impact in just January alone. And so we're calling on the federal government to fully step up, to provide direct financial assistance to our city.
The federal government needs to pay for what they broke here. You don't get to break things and then just leave without doing something about it.
Tom, your reaction?
A lot of things were broken, but it wasn't because of Trump administration. The border, last 4 years, over 10 million illegal aliens crossed that border. That was broken. Where were they then? Did Governor Walz speak out against that with the overdose deaths and the sex trafficking and the no inspector terrorists? No. They broke the border. President Trump fixed the border. They let millions of people in this country illegally release kids to unvetted sponsors. President Trump's fixing that. And what did the state of Minnesota break? They were a sanctuary state. Their county jails weren't working with us across the state. So you know what? We fixed it. They ought to be saying thank you. The state's safer because of that. And President Trump gets another win. President Trump gets a win every day. Every day he's winning. Yeah. And I'm just proud to be a small part of this administration.
When you find 3,000 missing kids, when you arrest 4,000 illegal aliens, yes, that is a win. But we shouldn't kid ourselves and think that the left isn't going to also use this situation and describe it as a win for them. It's not the end of the story. It's going to get worse before it gets better. We got a lot more to talk about on the way. Hillary Clinton actually described Biden's migration chaos as just that, chaos. She was in Munich over the weekend at those Security Council meetings. I was shocked. I was shocked to hear Hillary Clinton say that Biden created chaos. She running for president too? Do you think that she would actually, we were talking about the Kamala Harris poll earlier. Kamala Harris is leading for the Democrat primaries in 2028, according to interactive polls. Do you think if Hillary announced, she would instantly be the favorite? I think she'd instantly be the favorite.
I don't know, following the Epstein stuff, I don't know.
Yeah, but they're looking the other way.
That's true. That's true.
They want to blame Donald Trump. Maybe.
Who knows?
If the left can do anything, it's look away from uncomfortable truths.
True.
So I do think Hillary might be positioning herself for a run, or she's the in case of emergency break glass candidate. Which, if we know anything about the Democrats, there might be an emergency and they might need to break glass.
Yeah. What is it? 18th time is the charm?
Yeah. We'll talk about Hillary's comments on the way. We'll also talk about how ICE and DHS is still in danger. We're seeing a lot of violence. In Portland, a leftist was charged with terrorism because he was planning to attack ICE agents with an AR-15, Molotov cocktails, and then behead them and use them as trophies. Yeah, that's a weird story. Just go full Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah, mostly peaceful.
He wanted to go full Vlad the Impaler. I'll you know what? We'll talk about Hillary on the way. I'll bring you that story next. It's 9:23. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. If you're dealing with back pain, neck pain, sciatica, herniated or bulging discs, spinal stenosis, or even numbness or weakness in your arms, legs, fingers, or toes, you know you don't have to live that way. The Wellness Institute of Nashville has my seal of approval on this deal that could absolutely change your life. Their first and only office in the state of Tennessee with the brand new 2026 non-surgical spinal decompression device called the HydroWave. Right now, it's 47% off. This is not basic therapy. We're talking robotic lasers, anti-gravity machines, cryotherapy, the HydroWave technology that will stimulate your very own stem cells for real cellular healing. This is why Dr. Mitchell needs to be your doctor. He should be. Bring your MRI, and they'll take x-rays if needed. He'll walk you through exactly what's happening, give you a real treatment plan to fix the problem. A pain-free life is within reach. It is absolutely possible, but it starts with a phone call to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009. The website is painisbad.com. Click painisbad.com.
Coming up, they're talking but not getting anywhere. That's the word on the stalemate over DHS funding. It's coming up here at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
And that's going to continue being a storyline at the very least through the State of the Union. 100%. Take it to the bank. I don't even need to look at the poly market odds. I'm just telling you. That's the way it is. Speaking of the State of the Union, our Steak of the Union is coming up. Legends Steakhouse in Smyrna. Tickets are still available. It's going to be an awesome night. We want to break steak with you and watch Donald Trump's address to the nation. And it's going to be a fun night. It's a very exclusive event. Only 100 tickets were available. That was when we started. It's a lot less now. Grab yours while you still have time to do so. 997WTN.com. We talked about how the left, the two things can be true at once, that the deportation operation that's happening is still moving forward full steam ahead. And with the drawdown in Minnesota, you're still seeing the left spin it as a massive win. And DHS and ICE are still in danger. In fact, they might be in more danger now than ever before because the left feels emboldened that if they push back and they use violence, they'll eventually win. I'm just telling you, this is the conversation that I'm seeing online. They're using this moment as a victory, and they're taking a victory lap. I fear it's going to get worse before it gets better. I saw a story coming out of Portland, a leftist charged with terrorism. He wanted to assassinate ICE agents. He had Molotov cocktails. He wanted to behead them. Full Vlad the Impaler. This is exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to bring you that story when we get back. Plus, we'll also talk about Hillary Clinton. She put the blame where it belongs, actually, and I was shocked. The current situation in this country goes back to one Joe Biden, and everybody knows it. Everyone knows it. We'll talk about that and more on the way. It's 9:31. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. No signs of a compromise and the battle over funding to the Department of Homeland Security.
Democrats are refusing to fund the Department of Homeland Security until Republicans agree on reforms to immigration enforcement tactics. That means 90% of Homeland Security workers, including personnel at the TSA, Secret Service, Coast Guard, and FEMA, are working without a paycheck. A major impact on this busy travel week could be at the nation's airports. During previous government shutdowns, many TSA workers called out sick, leading to long security lines and delays.
That's ABC's Nicole D'Antonio. Congress is on recess until February 23rd. A man previously convicted of murder is not getting a shot at a new trial. James Taylor was convicted of murdering an 89-year-old Franklin woman back in 1987.
He received a life sentence and spent more than 30 years in prison for the crime. Taylor was later released on early parole.
That's Danielle Ledbetter at WSMV4. Taylor claimed there was new evidence that would exonerate him. A judge has denied that new trial. In Cape Cod, Massachusetts, a couple out for a walk with their dog fell through the ice of Bees River.
When police arrived, they heard a woman screaming for help at Bees River, a nearby tidal pond. Officials say a husband and wife had fallen through ice while walking their dog. Rescue crews were able to recover the body of the woman who was pronounced dead at the scene. Search for her husband is ongoing. 2 police officers fell through the ice in an attempt to rescue the woman.
That's Logan Hall from WBZ. Both the officers were able to get back to the shore. Locals say others don't realize that even though everything appears to be frozen, that pond is subject to strong currents and salt water. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Zerorez Nashville. This is one of those weekends where we could probably use a Zerorez check-in because, you know, the rain was coming down. The boys still wanted to play outside, so the mud finds a new home, and that's right there on the carpet. Even though we say, please take off your shoes in the garage. So I just wanted to come in and get a bottle of water. That doesn't change things. There's still mud on the carpet. This stuff used to get under my skin way more. Now we just call Zerorez. They are the Maha of carpet cleaning. They're going to use their exclusive ZR water. No soap, no harsh chemicals, no residue. Your carpets aren't just going to look clean. They're going to stay clean longer. and the kids can sprawl out on the floor. The dogs can roll around. You don't have to stress what's in the fibers. It's not just carpets. They do air ducts, tile, rugs, upholstery, the works. Call my friends at Zerorez today. They're going to take care of your carpets. 615-535-9376. That's 615-535-9376. And you can always book online, ZerorezNashville.com. It's 9:39, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Happy President's Day. We doing that? Did you get me anything for President's Day?
A good next 3 years.
Oh. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. I used my vote for your President's Day. Enjoy your gift.
Thank you. Thank you. My son's getting into presidents now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the 8-year-old. He's like, Dad, did you know George Washington had wood teeth? And I said, I did. And then I leaned in real close and I said, did you know he crossed an icy river on Christmas Eve to go kill the British? And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, pretty badass.
I think he had a couple screws loose, too, by the end. I think he was willing to do so much stuff.
You got to. You got to. That's the right kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's our leader right there.
I also didn't say badass when I was talking.
I assumed, yeah.
That was more for radio effect.
Yeah, if they can't say shut up, I have a feeling you didn't say badass.
No, I didn't. But it was like pretty based. All right, it is. He is. Happy Washington's birthday. That's how it started. And then Lincoln got intertwined into all that.
I mean, he did a pretty good job too.
So I swear to you, this actually came up. We also talked about Abraham Lincoln over the weekend.
Oh yeah.
So we were talking presidents, and my wife said to my 8-year-old, like, you got to take a shower. And so I started calling him Abraham Stinkin'. So don't call me that. Well, you got to go take a shower then. You got to go shower.
Do it every time now. It'll be ingrained in his head.
Otherwise, you are Abraham Stinkin', my friend.
That's pretty good.
So that was my weekend. Happy President's Day. We appreciate you guys being here. We were talking about ICE enforcement operations. Two things can be true at once. The leftists can be emboldened, and things are going according to plan with the Trump administration. And I truly believe this, that the plan is being executed. You see it when ICE is going out there buying storage facilities to repurpose them and buying warehouses to repurpose them into immigrant detention centers. That's a big move. That's a huge step. They're looking at ones in New York, and they're all over the place. So that's true. We can use ICE agents elsewhere. That is also true, especially if we're getting more cooperation from Minneapolis police, which looks to be the case. We're not going to need the same number of soldiers, I say soldiers, but enforcement officers in there that we would have needed without that cooperation. That's true. But at the same time, the left is spinning this as a win, and the left is emboldened, and the left is violent. And I think that the drawdown in Minneapolis is only going to lead to more violence. I saw this story in Portland over the weekend. It's gross. This guy, absolutely insane. Listen to this.
18-year-old Raiden Tanner Coleman appearing in Columbia County Court by video Friday.
Do you see your true and legal name? Yes.
Last month, the mother of one of Coleman's roommates alerted police after Coleman allegedly said he was going to bring, quote, severed ICE agent heads to a native reservation to recruit them in his cause. His roommates were also concerned he had a plan to bomb ICE.
This is an incredibly serious case. It's 15 felonies. It's the first case, I believe, charged in Oregon under the domestic terrorism statute.
Another person familiar with Coleman said his behavior started escalating around the time ICE agents shot 2 people in Portland.
Just let the record show the 2 people that were shot in Portland were Tren de Aragua gang members. That story disappeared from the news so fast. It was right in the aftermath of the Renee Nicole Good shooting. It was like the next day. Was it the next day or like 2 days after? I can't remember the exact detail. But it was like, oh, no, another one. And the media glommed onto it. And they were like, another senseless shooting, this time in Portland. And then it was like, oh, it was Tren de Aragua members. Oh, they weaponized a vehicle. Oh, it was a targeted enforcement operation. Never mind. And then they ran away from the story. So that story sensationalized this guy into wanting to commit just abhorrent acts of violence.
Shot 2 people in Portland. Court documents say Coleman sent a message that reads in part, quote, I'm going to get my hands on a firearm and I will actively kill any ICE agents I see killing or kidnapping civilians. On February 4th, police arrested Coleman at Avamere Assisted Living where he works. They say they also found glass bottles and surveillance equipment in his car. Police claim Coleman admitted a rifle he had ordered along with Molotov cocktails and camouflage clothing were all for harming ICE.
A hatchet was obtained for the stated purpose of decapitating agents. There was an AR-15 that was purchased and had not yet arrived, but arrived the same day as the arrest.
Police say Coleman also admitted to having a manifesto on his computer.
He was ready to go. He was an absolute lunatic. And if you think that this is a one-off, I got news for you. There's probably 1,000 more lunatics willing to commit acts of violence that this leftist was willing to commit. And they're willing to commit it Because of the leftist narrative, the mainstream media, the rhetoric, and the politics attached to all of this. So when you see the drawdown in Minneapolis, I think that it emboldens a lot of these individuals. Two things can be true at once. The left is going to spin the drawdown in Minneapolis. They're going to get oxygen out of this. They're going to get energy out of this. And then we're going to see more leftists become more violent and more determined. And then it's also true that Holman is telling 100% the truth when he says that ICE found over 3,000 missing kids, arrested 4,000 illegal aliens. They're getting more cooperation with local police, and they don't need as large of a footprint. Both can be true. But the danger to ICE agents is 100% real, and everybody understands that, right? Nick Shirley was in Chicago, and he was actually talking to an ICE agent. He was on a ride-along, and he says the ICE agent tells him that Chicago gangs are actively tracking ICE agents, and they're not just tracking them. They're putting bounties on their head, and they're putting Apple AirTags on their cars. Listen to this.
Out of all the places you've been to, while you get these deportations have been going on, how would you say Chicago is as far as it being harder to go through and find these people with how many people are putting out notices of ICE in the areas?
I think it's hard, both Chicago, sanctuary cities or sanctuary states and cities, such as California and Chicago. It ranks, they're sort of neck and neck, but I'll just give the edge to Chicago, just due to the fact that we're dealing with the threat levels of the gangs and just the bounties that's wanted, and just the threat level of now people are putting Apple tags and government rides. So I think
people are putting like Apple tags on your guys' vehicles.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And how much are some of these bounties they're putting out for you guys?
There was a bounty for the BP officer, Greg, who was overseeing the BP operations, and it was like $10,000. It was $10,000.
And is that to kill you guys or just to get you guys hostage?
Both.
Both. Yeah, no big deal. No big deal. $10,000 bounties. Slapping Apple AirTags on the cars. You know what an Apple AirTag is, right? It's just like you put it in your suitcase, and then you find out if it made it to the destination or if it's in some other random airport. Some people, I've heard that some people are using Apple AirTags in their kids' backpacks in case something bad happens at a bus stop or a kid goes missing. They're trackable. It's just a little token, it looks like, and then you open up the Apple app and you can find it wherever it is. They're putting those on ICE vehicles. They're putting those on Border Patrol vehicles. And then you have $10,000 bounties on their heads. So your guys are in constant danger. And the message that you're signaling with the drawdown in Minneapolis is being, and more importantly, how it's being received and how it's being amplified on the left is that they won in Minneapolis. The left views Minneapolis as an overwhelming success. The radical protesters feel more like freedom fighters than ever, and it's not a good look. I'm not sure how the Trump administration changes the messaging and does it differently, but it's absolutely true that the left looks at Minneapolis as a win, and there's no getting around it. Like you can say that we won, and I would agree with you just by the metrics and by what the fruit is from the operation. 3,000 rescued missing kids, 4,000 illegal aliens arrested, the fraud that's been uncovered. The fraud investigators are still there in Minneapolis, by the way. We can look at that objectively and say, yes, this was a win for the Trump administration. But how it's being received, how it's being messaged, and how it's being amplified by the left, they're counting it as a win on their side. And then you embolden these lunatics for more violence, and we're going to get another cycle of a Renee Nicole Good or an Alex Preddy, and this is going to continue to repeat until more violence happens. It gets worse and worse and worse. I mean, honestly, tell me that this guy doesn't sound emboldened. This is William Kelly. This is one of the lunatics that ran up inside the church in Minnesota. Tell me that William Kelly doesn't sound more emboldened now than ever before. This is after his court case. He had a press conference, and he was just losing his mind on Friday.
My name is William Kelly. I'm a combat veteran. I'm a patriot. I'm a lover of the Constitution. I'm an ally to my Black, Latino, and indigenous peoples. I will not stand here and be intimidated by Pam Bondi on her persecution of these patriots, of these freedom fighters, of these journalists who are brave enough to document what we're doing in this city. What is happening in Minnesota is a resistance against tyranny, a resistance against fascism. And the absurdity of us being right here, right now, the peaceful nine being persecuted, while the murderers and the executioners of Alex Petty and Renee Good walk free, not only walk free, but are still working for the federal government. This is madness. It's time to wake up, Americans. It's time to get off your couches and stand with your brothers and sisters in solidarity.
I mean, listen, we can listen to him and be like, he's an unhinged lunatic. We can, and it's true. But we have to understand that the leftists are listening to him, and they're getting fired up, and they feel like freedom fighters. They feel like they're about to cross the Rubicon, like they're doing something worthwhile, and it's going to lead to more violence. That's just the reality of the situation. William Kelly is an absolute terrorist, a domestic terrorist who stormed a church in Minnesota. He's a lunatic. He's back on the streets, and he's emboldened. And many others are emboldened by him as well. It all started with Biden. The West in general is in trouble. But Hillary over the weekend in Munich, Hillary Clinton, said that Biden's migration process and strategy went a little too far. It was disruptive. It was destabilizing.
I think we need to call it for what it is.
Secretary
There is a
Clinton.
legitimate reason to have a debate about things like migration. It went too far. It's been disruptive and destabilizing, and it needs to be fixed in a humane way with secure borders that don't torture and kill people.
What a bigot. What an absolute Nazi. Why isn't the left protesting her? This is not going to get the amplification on the left that somebody like William Kelly will get. But she's right. I don't mean to agree with Hillary Clinton here. This all goes back to Joe Biden. 100%. This goes back to Joe Biden. What we're seeing in the streets right now, what we're seeing with ICE enforcement operations, it wouldn't have to happen if it wasn't for Joe Biden and his wide open southern border. Hillary Clinton wasn't just talking about the current state of the United States and our immigration enforcement operations. She was also, winking and nodding towards Europe and the civilizational destruction that we've seen, the civilizational suicide that we've seen in Europe and Western countries alike. I'll bring you more of that audio from Hillary Clinton on the way in Munich. Plus, we'll talk about how we have our own fish to fry here in America when it comes to migration and the West. It's 9:52. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. That's Joe Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. It's 9:57 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. God, I just want to thank the Lord for this morning.
It's with the little blessings in life.
Oh my gosh, I was just telling Mason, like, I am overwhelmingly blessed. I went into the break room during the commercials.
Yeah,
there's cold pizza in there. Awesome.
Already a great start.
Solid. I had to check my teeth for oregano before I came back on the air. I did.
Using his phone camera as a mirror. I was like, what are you doing in there?
And then we have this new coffee machine for my guy Wally.
Yep.
Wally's Coffee.
Shout out.
Wally's Bean Machine. And it's like this huge espresso machine that we have now.
It's got that. It can make lattes. I think it can make Americanos. But
I got the hot cocoa with espresso.
Dude.
Tell you what, if you're upset about leftists or you're angry about immigration, a little hot cocoa with espresso goes a long way.
Yeah, it'll shift your morning to a positive for sure.
100%. So yeah, just look for the little things in life. You'll find them. You'll absolutely find them. Speaking of looking for the little things in life, Hillary Clinton got absolutely obliterated by a Czech politician over the weekend. She was in Munich.
We appreciate the little blessings.
It's just blessing after blessing. You know, we said earlier Hillary was right, which is fine. She was right. The immigration has been destabilizing and disruptive. I think that's underselling a little bit. But this Czech politician called her out for her rampant TDS. Listen to this.
Well, first, I think you really don't like him.
That is absolutely true. But I really, not only do I not like him, I don't like him because of what he's doing to the United States and the world. And I think you should take a hard look at it if you think that there is something good that will come out of it.
What I think Trump is doing in America, I think it is reaction for something for some policies that really went too far from the regular people, too far from reality. So
She said, like what? Give us some examples. How about chopping the balls off kids? Would that be too far? I mean, that didn't take me long to think. Did it take you long to think?
Nah.
But yeah. What about all the gender mutilation that you did on our youth? Side note, tomorrow on the show, do you know who's going to be in here right around this time? Tomorrow, Chloe Cole. She's going to be in studio joining us. She is one of the biggest detransitioners out there. Her story is unbelievable, and we're going to be able to get that story firsthand from Chloe tomorrow at this time. On the way, we'll talk a little bit more about what happened in Munich over the weekend. Marco Rubio was unbelievable. Now, there's one of two ways to know if a conservative does a good job. You ready? The first way is you go to right-wing sources, and then you see what they're saying. The other way is to see how the left is reacting. I did the latter first, and it was AOC absolutely melting down. And I was like, oh, wow, this actually must have been a good speech. So I went and I found it, and it was a barn burner. I'll bring you all the related audio from that. Plus, we'll talk about AOC pulling a Joe Biden on the world stage, totally crapping her pants, and more. It's 10:01. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. More schools are closing their doors over the flu. Warren County schools now closed through Wednesday, joining Coffee County and Manchester City schools in using the extended holiday to tamp down on the spread of flu. A former officer has been indicted for alleged inappropriate contact with a resident.
They say Michael Singleton, who was an officer at the time with the Millersville Police Department, reportedly made inappropriate contact with a resident at her home. Officials say he failed to notify dispatch of where he was going, document the contact property, and he did not activate his body camera.
That's WSNB4's Lauren Lowry. The 33-year-old former officer was booked into jail on a $5,000 bond. U.S. military forces boarded another sanctioned tanker in the Indian Ocean. That vessel had been tracked from the Caribbean. The Department of War says it's the Veronica, and it's a Panamanian-flagged vessel under U.S. sanctions related to Iran. Panama says, however, it's not one of ours. The Pentagon didn't say whether the Veronica was formally seized and placed under U.S. control. A new video from Savannah Guthrie appealing for her mother's kidnappers to return her. Meantime, ABC's Alex Stone says tests are underway on the gloves found near the Guthrie home.
Agents are awaiting quality control tests before submitting the profile into the FBI's national DNA database. In video captured by the New York Post, the glove is black latex, and investigators say they don't know yet if it has any connection to the case or if it's just roadside debris.
Friends of the Guthries say the family is frustrated with the pace of the investigation. Tomorrow is Fat Tuesday, the last day of indulgence before Lent. ABC's Wayne Cabot on a big change for this year.
Mardi Gras without beads? Well, no plastic beads. They're bad for the environment. 46 tons of them clogged the New Orleans storm drains one year after flooding, and they've been found in Lake Pontchartrain. So this year, biodegradable beads are being tossed. They are starch-based, and they have okra seeds inside for later planting. They were developed at Louisiana State University. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
This Saturday at 9, tune into the Efficient Heating and Cooling Hour with Jeff Eddy. It's your home. Keep it comfortable through the changing of the seasons. Questions about heating, cooling, air quality, and more with Jeff Eddy during the Efficient Heating and Cooling Hour. Saturdays at 9 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Sponsored by Efficient HVAC.
It's 10:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. And it's honestly, it's powered. It's ran now by Wally's Bean Machine. We're cranking up the caffeine in here. It's going to be bad. At a certain point, they might think we're on like Adderall or something.
That would actually make me function normally. Double dose. I don't know. This is straight cocaine.
Oh yeah,
going right to my veins. It's so good.
It's so good.
I am very appreciative. I don't drink coffee. I think it's known. I think I've mentioned it a couple times on the air.
Yeah, we've called you a communist for it.
Yeah, blame COVID. I blame the Chinese. But man,
because ever since your smell got messed up, you haven't been able to go back to coffee.
Yeah, this is worth the risk.
Oh, 100%.
I plug my nose and it tastes pretty darn good.
It's awesome. We got, just in case you're joining us, we got Wally's bean machine in the office now.
Yeah, we're spoiled now.
There's no going back. Mason and I were like, what happens if they stop advertising? I was like, well, we're gonna have to treat that bean machine like an ATM in the hood, wrap some chains around it and drive off.
Snatch that thing.
You know what I mean?
I'll borrow my roommate's truck and it'll be
yeah, it's ours.
Where'd the machine go?
I thought
partnership ended.
I think if you look closely at the fine print, it says no refunds, and the machine stays with us. I think that's what the deal was. No, but Wally's bean machine, shout out to those guys. Awesome.
No, love you guys. Thank you so much.
Unbelievable stuff. I was looking through the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
And the text line. And we had played audio from William Kelly. He was the white guy who was storming the church and screaming at all the Christians in attendance.
Yep.
And somebody said, you know who he sounds like?
Latino and indigenous people. I will not stand here and be intimidated by...
Let me tell you something, brother. That's what somebody said. March 25th, Nassau Coliseum, brother.
And it's to point out he's nowhere like even as good as yes, I absolutely see that, but he's the weaker like Dem version.
Yo,
not worth.
He's like Hulk Hogan with osteoporosis. It's like, I don't know what you just pick him up if you blow on. If you just he would just fly away.
No, come back. No. Okay, he's gone.
His little guy. Shout out to the YouTube chat. Shout out to you guys joining the show. You can join the show any way you'd like to. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. We're talking about Hillary Clinton, too. She was at the Munich Security Council, and she was talking about national security and, things like that. Munich Security Conference, excuse me. And she actually said that third world migration was a bit of an issue here in America and in the West, and that, secure borders are actually important. Weird.
I think we need to call it for what it is. There is a legitimate reason to have a debate about things like migration. It went too far. It's been disruptive and destabilizing, and it needs to be fixed in a humane way with secure borders that don't torture and kill people.
Yeah, she adds in the humane way, like the Obama kids in cages. Is that what you mean with the space blankets? Is that the humane way you were talking about? Because nobody had an issue when Obama was doing it. Maybe. But she does put the qualifier there on the end. But she sounded remarkably similar to Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the speeches that he was giving when it came to the current state of the West in general, not just America, but the state of the West and mass migration. I mean, corporate wants to know the difference between these two sound clips.
Mass migration isn't some fringe concern of little consequence. It was and continues to be a crisis which is transforming and destabilizing societies all across the West.
Now, he doesn't put the qualifier in there, right? He doesn't go, well, we need to deal with it in a humane way. He doesn't go that far. But honestly, there's not much light between Hillary Clinton's statement and Marco Rubio's statement. Maybe that's some signaling by the leftists at the highest levels that, yeah, we pushed too far on this migration thing and it's going to come back and bite us in the rear end. Maybe they're looking at the polling and they understand how unbelievably unpopular it is, not just in America, but throughout Western Europe as well. Now, Europe did push back on America's claims of civilizational erasure. But, miss me with that. What's the number one baby name in England? Oh, that's right, Muhammad. Oh. Yeah, no, not Nigel. No, not Nigel. Top European Union officials have rejected that Europe faces civilizational erasure, pushing back at the criticism of the continent by the Trump administration. This is after the weekend in Munich. Breitbart has the story. Europeans push back at U.S. over claim they face civilizational erasure. Emma Burrows, Geir Molson, the Associated Press reported this. Munich top European official on Sunday rejected the notion that Europe faces civilizational erasure, pushing back at criticisms of the continent by the Trump administration. EU foreign policy chief Kaja Kallas addressed the Munich Security Conference a day after Marco Rubio offered a somewhat reassuring message to European allies. He struck a less aggressive tone than Vice President J.D. Vance in lecturing them at the same gathering last year, where I think J.D. Vance called it suicide. And I think that you can make the argument he's correct. But he maintained, Rubio did, a firm tone on Washington's intent to reshape the transatlantic alliance and push its policy priorities. Now, Kallas, a foreign policy chief of the EU, alluded to criticism in the U.S. national security strategy released in December, which asserted that economic stagnation in Europe is eclipsed by the real and more stark prospect of civilizational erasure, suggesting that Europe is being enfeebled by its immigration policies, declining birth rates, censorship of free speech, and suppression of political opposition, and a loss of national identities and self-confidence. Contrary to what some may say, woke, decadent Europe is not facing civilizational erasure, Kallas told the conference. In fact, people still want to join our club, and not just fellow Europeans. Isn't that kind of the problem? Isn't that exactly what Rubio is saying? People want to join your club, but it's not fellow Europeans. Kind of made the point for him there. Yeah, you kind of made the point for him. But Rubio's he's absolutely right, and I think it's important to point out this isn't just a European issue. This is a Western issue, and we have our own fish to fry here in America. I saw a clip over the weekend. It was insane. Former New York State Representative Charles Barron, you know what he has the distinct honor of saying? This is his own words on video. I couldn't believe that he admitted this. Miranda Devine had retweeted it, said monstrous and frightening. He said, I have the distinct honor to say that in my district, we lost white population.
I have the distinct honor to be able to come before you and say I actually lost white population in my community. I lost them. They left. I didn't ask them why. They left. So if you see 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 whites in my neighborhood, they're passing through.
I mean, do you hear the laughing? Ha, 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 ha. Ha, 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 ha. White people are disappearing. Ha, 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 ha. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Don't worry. I didn't ask them why they left. Yeah, I'm sure it had nothing to do with you. I'm sure it had nothing to do with high taxes. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the city crumbling around you. Yeah, nothing. I mean, this is where we're at. We are being replaced systematically. The Great Replacement is not a conspiracy theory. It is actually happening in real time. They'll tell you you're a conspiracy theorist and to stop noticing, and then out the other side of their mouth, they'll tell you it is happening and it's a good thing. It's happening. It's not just here. It's all across the West. We've seen it over and over and over again. Democrat Rep. Gene Wu, he represents Texas, and he's now facing calls to resign after saying non-whites are going to take over America from white people. Imagine doing this. Imagine a conservative saying this exact statement but opposite. Imagine a conservative saying, "You know what? We're gonna take over Memphis from black people." Imagine what would happen. Imagine the outrage. Now understand that you don't get any of that same outrage when Gene Wu, a representative out of Texas, Democrat, says this.
I always tell people the day the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. Because we are the majority in this country now. We have the ability to take over this country and to do what is needed for everyone and to make things fair. But the problem is our communities are divided. They're completely divided.
So he wants to take over the country from white people. He wants to disenfranchise white people. Imagine saying that about any other race. But this is fine. This is okay. Got it. But we are seeing it. And we understand what the birth rates are. And we understand that Islam and communism and all these competing ideologies, they operate in 100-year timelines. You know, they're not operating in the 2 and 4 year cycles that conservatives operate in. They're going to outbreed the white Europeans in this country. Brandon Gill had something to say about that when talking about Texas in particular. You know, you have Gene Wu on one side, and then on the opposite side you have Brandon Gill, who says, you know, I actually like Texas looking like Texas. I actually like going around in Texas and not feeling like I'm in Pakistan. Yet lately, it feels a lot more like the latter.
I hear from constituents all the time who are deeply and desperately concerned about the Islamization of the Dallas area. They're hearing about mosques that are popping up near land that they or their family have owned for generations. They're hearing about these epic city compounds that are popping up, where you have entire communities who are being transformed. When you hear about constituents talking about going to their local malls and you look around and it feels like you're in Pakistan, not Dallas, Texas, that's a problem. And you're seeing our communities, our culture, the place that we know and love here being fundamentally transformed, and my constituents are concerned, and I'm concerned.
Are you concerned? 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. That's the number to join the show, whether you want to call in or text in. Chip Roy has been a fighter on this front, and I'm grateful for Chip Roy. I've actually grown to like him a lot more in recent months than I had before, but he keeps ending up on the right side of a lot of issues. And when it comes to the Islamicization of America, Chip Roy stands in direct opposition.
I'm not going to take a whole lot of time. I want to be very clear. I am proud to be with this group of Americans, of colleagues, many of whom wore the uniform in defense of our nation and in defense of our nation against radical Islamic terrorists who wanted to destroy our country and destroy what we know about Western civilization. And now that same war is being conducted against us, but from within. And anybody who's actually paying attention to this and understands the intentions of the Muslim Brotherhood and follows and looks at the writings and what these folks are talking about, Dallas, Houston, Texas is ground zero. That's why Keith Self and I joined together to create this Sharia-Free Caucus, Sharia-Free America Caucus, because we understand that the root strength of this country is our Judeo-Christian principles and the values of Western civilization that have advanced the cause of liberty, freedom, and prosperity for people around the world.
You know, we actually, there was an event last night at World Outreach Church, and it was the Make Heaven Crowded tour with Turning Point Faith. And Eric Metaxas spoke, and he said he's got a new book coming out, which is, I'm actually really looking forward to it. And it's all about the American Revolution. And it's the American story is a very Christian story, no matter how you slice it. How did, on this President's Day, how did a guy like George Washington have the stones to do what he did? Well, it was because of his faith in God, first and foremost. That's where it began. That's how this nation was formed. It was a Christian nation. We're seeing it be changed before our very eyes. And we have to push back against this. We have to fight against this because they'll tell you it's not happening. And then out the other side of their mouth, they'll tell you, actually, it is happening. It's a good thing. Let me tell you why. It's insanity. And if we want this country to look like it did when we were growing up for our kids and grandkids, the fight is in front of us today. We need to support more reps like Chip Roy, like Brandon Gill. We need to support people who have the bravery and the spine to stand up in the face of this great replacement, which is happening in real time, and we need to push back against it. And we shouldn't vote for anybody that doesn't realize what's happening before our own eyes in real time. It's 10:21. This is Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
I think we need to call it for what it
Why some local roads and trails are closed down today. That and more coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. It's 1026 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You can listen to us anywhere. iHeart, TuneIn, the FM dial. You can watch us. Super Talk TV is up and running. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. Helping us grow the digital footprint of the radio station helps everybody on the radio station. So please do that if you will. Every digital platform you might be listening on has a share button. We've been talking about, the Islamification of the West, the Great Replacement theory, the civilizational erasure that we've seen in Western Europe, and to some extent here in America as well. I played a clip from Gene Wu in Texas, who he was like, "Hey, non-whites, we're gonna take over the country from these whiteys soon." I'm paraphrasing a little bit. Then another clip, former New York rep Charles Barron being like, "I got the honor of saying that all the white people moved out of my neighborhood. If you see a couple white people, they're just passing through." And it's like, could you imagine? Could you imagine any politician saying the exact same thing? Could you imagine a politician getting up there and bragging that he cleared the blacks out of a neighborhood? Ooh, yikes. Whoa, calm down. But you're allowed to do it when you're talking about white people. Of course. I think we need to push back on that. We need to push back on that for our sons and for our daughters and for our grandkids, because that's not what we signed up for here, actually. I don't know if you've been paying attention. White Europeans had a lot to do with the building of this nation. Sorry, I know that's uncomfortable. Especially if you enjoy the alternate national anthem at things like the Super Bowl. But it's just the truth. Marco Rubio alluded to that in his speech over the weekend at the Munich Security Conference. Big speech. Pro-West, pro-Christian, pro-European heritage, anti-mass migration, and he got a standing ovation after that speech.
Went too far. It's been disruptive and destabilizing.
Just calm down, Hillary. She wants people to listen to her no matter what. It's
every effort to get back in line.
We've had enough of you, ma'am. Thank you. This is Marco Rubio after his speech Sunday.
Trump's delegation in Munich, Secretary of State Marco Rubio received a standing ovation for giving what some called a reassuring message to European allies.
We do not want our allies to be weak, because that makes us weaker. For we in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers of the West's managed decline.
Not all Democrats attending the security conference agreed.
I know that the Democratic Party is here for our allies. We are shocked at the president's destruction of our relationship with our European allies.
Which ally? Which ally has our relationship been destroyed by President Trump? I mean, listen, there's something to be said about the criticism you receive, who you receive it from, and what that actually means. And when AOC is out there on the world stage pulling a Joe Biden, crapping her pants on a simple question between Taiwan and China, which I'll play for you on the way, and criticizing Marco Rubio's speech, it tells you about everything you need to know, doesn't it? When AOC is losing her mind, it really shows you that Rubio was executing. I'm going to bring you all the highlights from the Rubio speech. Plus, we'll bring you that moment where AOC was completely in over her head and more. It's 10:30. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Some TSA agents once again forced to work without pay due to the partial government shutdown. It's day 3.
This partial government shutdown, it's now entering a few days here, and it's all because Democrats are really putting up a fight here, refusing to fund the Department of Homeland Security until Republicans agree to major changes to immigration enforcement. But Republicans are pushing back on those reforms. When it comes, for instance, to banning them from wearing masks, they claim that these ICE agents are being doxxed and harassed, and they're wearing these masks for their own safety.
That's ABC News' Selena Wang. Some logging operations are taking place in Lawrence County, so some roads and trails at the Laurel Hill Wildlife Management Area are going to be closed.
Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, TWRA, they say trail riders, anglers, and hunters should be careful, as heavy equipment and trucks will be present on some roads and trails within the WMA.
That's Channel 4's Lauren Lowry. TWRA says logging helps maintain habitat across the landscape and it benefits wildlife in the area. Today marks 2 years since the death of Alexei Navalny, the outspoken critic of Russian President Vladimir Putin, who died in a Russian prison. Now, the Kremlin claimed that his death was from natural causes, but European officials are now saying that's not true.
It was with a toxin that comes from a frog from South America. So a very different kind of agent, but still, I have to imagine, from the same type of program that Russia and the Soviet Union had maintained in the Cold War.
That's Javad Ali, the former senior director for counterterrorism at the National Security Council. And it wasn't the first time that Navalny was poisoned. In 2020, he suffered a near-death experience after being exposed to a deadly nerve agent. That is the latest news. Your weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We all know when storms hit the Nashville area, they don't mess around. We get power outages, we get frozen lines, we get burst pipes, and what starts as a small headache can turn into a major home disaster fast. That's why now is the time to call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, the team you trust when it matters most. You can get 40% off a whole home surge protector with any electrical repair. Protect your home from sudden outages and damaging voltage spikes before the next storm rolls in. And if freezing temps have already done a number on your plumbing, Busy Bee's offering $500 off select whole home water repipes. Fix it right now, before a small leak becomes an expensive flood. If you're dealing with a stubborn clog, ask about their 93 or free residential mainline special. If they can't clear it, you don't pay for it. It's as simple as that. This winter, stay safe, stay warm, and stay ahead of the damage. Visit busybehvac.com or call my friends today. 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. busybehvac.com.
I only really use Instagram, Chris.
Yeah, okay.
Chris is getting mad at me for using social media and spending more time with my friends instead of scrolling the internet.
Oh,
What's
I have
this?
friends. I have friends. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I was giving Mason the business off air, and then he turned his mic on. Then he brought the conversation on air.
Yeah,
okay,
I'll bring this on air.
Okay, can I just let me tell you? Let me tell you what's
I'll bring
happening.
this fight out.
No, yeah, we'll talk about
It's
it.
not a fight.
Mason says he's spending time with his friends. Okay. Here's the thing. I see this video on Twitter, and I was like, Mason, did you see this? And he's like, no, I haven't. And it's a video of Michael Jordan, like, pinching some kid's butt and, like, rubbing his legs all weird at a NASCAR race.
Which is wild.
It's super weird.
And my response to him was, are there no good people left?
And I was like, I don't know. Like, he's really, like, aggressively pinching this butt. I'm not lying to you guys. Here. I know we can't do video on the streams. Like, this is the best I can do. I'll just hold it up. Like, I mean, So I said to Mason, I said, I just sent it to your Twitter account. He's like, well, let me find the login. I'm like, how are you not logged in? And he said, well, the only Instagrams that I have on the only social media I have are Facebook and Instagram. He's like, I'm pro Zuckerberg, dude.
No, that's not what I said.
That's what he said to me.
That's not at all what I said.
He said, I'm pro Zuck. He said,
Down with
what?
the Zuck.
He said, what the Zuck? And I said, that's not okay to say. And I said, Mason, you have to log into your Twitter.
Yeah, I do got to log into my Twitter. I just
sent you a video of Michael Jordan pinching the bottom of a toddler. You have to see this. What is this?
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to open my phone to every day.
Yeah, that's if you need a reason to log in. That's
not to mention all the stuff you send me on Instagram.
I send him a lot of stuff on Instagram. Probably too much.
Just saying.
I don't even look for a response anymore. Do you notice that?
Yeah, I know.
I just keep flooding them.
He's going.
Like, whatever. We're moving on. He'll catch up with this when he can.
Yeah. I always check it. I give a response, but like, there's nothing back from Chris because he's on to the next thing already.
I can't believe that you didn't see the Michael Jordan video.
What?
That's
You can't
so
believe
weird.
that I'm not watching Michael Jordan touch little kids?
I didn't.
What?
I don't know.
It's not my preferred.
When was this?
I don't know.
Hold on, I got to figure it out before we go any further because this is just too much. The 2026 Daytona 500 victory celebration.
So this year
shows Michael Jordan lifting the shirt of Tyler Reddick's son to scratch an itch from post-race champagne dousing.
I don't know. That video looked like a little lower than his back, and the kid looked at him like, "What are you doing?"
Said, "Sir, do I know you?" And he's like, "I won 6 championships with the Bulls." And he's like, "Sir,
I played baseball once."
Yeah, what is this? What are the Bulls? In that team that's been on the treadmill of mediocrity for years? What does that mean? Like, the Bulls suck, Mr. Jordan. You were on the Bulls? That stinks. It's like,
you know LeBron?
Yeah. Have you heard of LeBron? Wembanyama? Have you heard of him? So weird, dude. What is
Hey,
that?
Ken, welcome in.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Ken.
Boys are
This
cracking
reminds
me
This
up.
reminds me of the time that the Dalai Lama made the kid, like, lick his own tongue. Remember that?
Yeah, that was
You remember
weird.
that?
Ooh.
You guys remember
weird.
that? Why do all these celebrities have this weird stuff going on? People demand answers.
Yeah.
Sorry that we had to bring that conversation. Mason, log into Twitter.
I'm
Maybe
doing
he
it
was
now.
just trying to goose the little tyke.
It looked like he was trying to goose him.
That kid looked very confused.
He looked goosed. Poor guy. Somebody said, I think he's just messing with the boy.
That's what I'm hoping.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, patting a little kid on the rear end when they do good.
Yeah, but like once or twice, more than 2 pats.
Mass migration.
Oh, sorry, Marco Rubio. It's timely. It's timely.
I think Marco's ready for a conversation.
Marco's like, can we talk about mass migration for a second, please?
All right, enough it is.
Reclaiming my time.
Reclaiming my time.
Reclaiming my time.
Okay.
Reclaiming my time.
All right, fair enough. Let's get back to the news. I don't always agree with Maxine Waters, but when I need to find a way out of a conversation about Michael Jordan pinching the bottom of a young man, I'll agree with Maxine Waters.
Yeah. This is what having hot chocolate with espresso in it does to us.
I told everybody to be careful.
It's a dangerous combo there.
It is. It's dicey.
That's gold, Jerry. Gold.
All right.
Sorry, I'm punching through my hotkeys.
You're just trying to change it. Yeah,
here,
I feel you. I feel you. You're hitting the. I'm not even going to make a joke. It's terrible. Moving right along. Marco Rubio, Munich Security Conference. Absolute beast of a speech, and huge fan of Marco in this setting. And he brings a lot of uncomfortable truths to the Europeans. He said Michael Jordan was squeezing that kid's bottom, and nobody did anything about it. No, sorry. That was the previous topic. He said, you guys are just letting all these individuals into your countries and not doing anything about it. It's absolutely changing the fabric of your societies, and everybody understands it. And in America, we are not going to be the caretakers of the decline of the West. And I love that line. We will not be your orderly caretakers supervising the West's decline. This was Marco Rubio over the weekend, Munich Security Conference.
Centuries before the end of the Second World War, the West had been expanding. Its missionaries, its pilgrims, its soldiers, its explorers pouring out from its shores to cross oceans, settle new continents, build vast empires extending out across the globe. But in 1945, for the first time since the age of Columbus, it was contracting. Europe was in ruins. Half of it lived behind an iron curtain, and the rest looked like it would soon follow. The great Western empires had entered into terminal decline, accelerated by godless communist revolutions and by anti-colonial uprisings that would transform the world and drape the red hammer and sickle across vast swaths of the map in the years to come. Against that backdrop, then as now, many came to believe that the West's age of dominance had come to an end, and that our future was destined to be a faint and feeble echo of our past. But together, our predecessors recognized that decline was a choice, and it was a choice they refused to make. This is what we did together once before, and this is what President Trump and the United States want to do again now, together with you. And this is why we do not want our allies to be weak, because that makes us weaker. We want allies who can defend themselves so that no adversary will ever be tempted to test our collective strength. This is why we do not want our allies to be shackled by guilt and shame. We want allies who are proud of their culture and of their heritage, who understand that we are heirs to the same great and noble civilization, and who together with us are willing and able to defend it. And this is why we do not want allies to rationalize the broken status quo rather than reckon with what is necessary to fix it. For we in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers of the West's managed decline.
Absolutely based. We want our allies to be strong. We want to work together. We're not going to just manage this decline. Take off the shackles of the shame and the embarrassment. It's time to move forward. For so long, in the aftermath of World War II, we have been told that our whiteness is inherently evil and we're not allowed to group together. We're not allowed to look out for our own interests. And it is asinine. And what has it led to? It's led to sweeping migration across every Western nation, and we've seen the fabrics of our country completely changed. And we've been told that we're not worth it. We've been told that our complaints have no merit. And then we've been told at the exact same time that, well, yeah, it is happening, and it's a good thing, and let me tell you why. Rubio is so on point here. Take off the shackles of shame. Move forward. Embrace your identity. Embrace your culture. Be proud of it. There is nothing inherently evil about that. We need to wake up, not just Americans, but across the West. In 100 years from now, there will be Arabs. In 100 years from now, there will be Chinese. In 100 years from now, there will be Indians. But we're seeing the white Europeans in this globe shrink dramatically, and the birth rates aren't keeping up, and we're being replaced demographically in our own countries, and we have to push back against that. We have to. The demonization of white Europeans needs to end. If it was any other group, it would have been stopped by now. It would have. And Marco Rubio is making that case to European nations. And I'm grateful for that. I am. We need strong leadership on the world stage, and this is exactly what it looks like. He also had a message for the globalists and for those that are engineering everything that we see. Nothing happens without America.
No longer place the so-called global order above the vital interests of our people and our nations. We do not need to abandon the system of international cooperation we authored, and we don't need to dismantle the global institutions of the old order that together we built. But these must be reformed. These must be rebuilt. For example, the United Nations still has tremendous potential to be a tool for good in the world. But we cannot ignore that today, on the most pressing matters before us, it has no answers and has played virtually no role. It could not solve the war in Gaza. Instead, it was American leadership that freed captives from barbarians and brought about a fragile truce. It has not solved the war in Ukraine. It took American leadership in partnership with many of the countries here today just to bring the two sides to the table in search of a still elusive peace. It was powerless to constrain the nuclear program of radical Shia clerics in Tehran. That required 14 bombs dropped with precision from American B-2 bombers. And it was unable to address the threat to our security from a narco-terrorist dictator in Venezuela. Instead, it took American special forces to bring this fugitive to justice.
You're hearing Rubio systematically go through all of the major American victories since Donald Trump took office. And he's saying, look at me, dead in the eye. You're all in the audience, and I want you all to hear this. We are still the premier superpower in the world. Don't get it twisted.
In a perfect world, all of these problems and more would be solved by diplomats and strongly worded resolutions. But we do not live in a perfect world. And we cannot continue to allow those who blatantly and openly threaten our citizens and endanger our global stability to shield themselves behind abstractions of international law which they themselves routinely violate. This is the path that President Trump and the United States has embarked upon. It is the path we ask you here in Europe to join us on. It is a path we have walked together before and hope to walk together again.
Absolutely an unbelievable speech by Marco Rubio. The strength, the power in his words, the matter-of-factness. Everybody knows that what he's saying is true, and it might make some feel a bit more uncomfortable than others, but everybody knows what time it is. And it's time for American dominance again. So which way, Western man? You are welcome to join us on this road, but you got to hold your own. You got to earn your keep. Whether that's NATO, whether that's your own personal defense, whether it's not, putting your citizens last, you need to step up. You absolutely need to step up. And replacing your own country with another country, not exactly the move you think it is. And that was really his biggest statement in Munich. This mass migration, it's not a fringe concern. It's been slowly eroding Western society for decades.
Mass migration isn't some fringe concern of little consequence. It was and continues to be a crisis which is transforming and destabilizing societies all across the West.
This is probably one of Marco Rubio's best moments on the world stage, and he's had quite a few of them. He's got quite a few jobs. I mean, geez, the guy's just nonstop. Huge. It's great to see American leadership performing like this on the world stage. It wasn't all Americans performing like this. Did you see AOC? AOC went the exact opposite route. I'm going to bring you her statements on the way. AOC is trying to position herself as a serious contender for president. Make no mistake about it. And she fell hard over the weekend while trying to make that case on the world stage. I'll bring you that momentarily. It's 10:51. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, we've got a crash downtown, drivers. It is blocking the right 3 lanes of 24 eastbound over on the East Loop. This crash is right there at the Eastern Split. This is an hour delay. In Antioch, a crash. The left 2 lanes are blocked, 24 westbound before Harding Place. And in Georgia, a school shooting and a father is on trial. Details at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Now, I know what you're thinking. When Ken Weaver says you're stuck in about an hour delay, that seems like bad news, but I want to tell you that's good news.
Yes, sir.
Because not only are you going to get the top of the hour newscast from Ken Weaver, you're also going to get the bottom of the hour newscast from Ken Weaver. That's
all the stuff in between, Brother Chris.
All you had to do was get stuck in a little bit of traffic.
Yeah.
So that's a happy little accident. Hashtag Bob Ross. I'm just letting you know. I'm looking forward to it. The show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, Water Filtration Systems, Water Softeners, BetterWater.com, and you can listen to us all over the place. iHeart, TuneIn, the FM dial. You can watch us, Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Rumble. It wasn't just the conservatives on the main stage over there in Munich at the security conference. There were some Democrats there as well. AOC. To say she's short-circuited here, I feel like is giving her too much credit. I feel like an average politician could have BS'd their way out of this. I wouldn't consider myself an average politician, but I listen to the question, and it's like I can think of a BS answer to pivot out of this in about 5 seconds flat. Because that's just sometimes that's what you need to do. You know, I'm not knocking her position one way or the other. But listen to how flat-footed AOC is caught when she's asked at the Munich Security Conference about what happens if China invades Taiwan.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is a, this is, of course,
Let the record show we're 23 seconds into the clip, and we have no semblance of an answer.
a very longstanding policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point. And we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
Great job.
That was profoundly obvious.
She nailed it. And people thought she peaked as a bartender. I'm here to tell you, no. That's Madam President to you, bigot, actually. But here's the thing, it's so easy. It's just so easy. What happens if China invades Taiwan? Will the U.S. support it? Well, actually, it's a great question. And one that we spend a lot of time thinking about. We have very, very capable military personnel, and I don't want to allude to what their plans are. I will tell you this. From America's position, we want to be able to have a secure relationship with not just our allies, but our competitors. And we think if we can exert American force and dominance on the world stage, we will have peace. Peace through strength. Moving on. Next question. It's that simple. She couldn't do it. Maybe she was thinking about how to make a mojito instead. It's 11 o'clock. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers, we've got a crash going eastbound on the East Loop downtown. It is right there at the Eastern Split, and that is causing a 47-minute delay right now. And in Antioch, we've got a crash. The left 2 lanes are blocked, 24 westbound before Harding Place. Road work, right lane block, 40 eastbound between Fessler's Lane and 2440, the Eastern Split. So a lot of fun for you drivers out there here on the East Loop, and then 40 both directions there between downtown and the Eastern Split. Today, opening statements begin in Georgia, where the father of a school shooting suspect is facing trial. Colin Gray, the father of Colt Gray, being charged with 29 criminal counts, including second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter. 4 people died in the 2024 Appalachia High School shooting. We get more from ABC's Faith Abube.
Prosecutors were expected to argue that Gray gave his then 14-year-old son, Colt, the murder weapon, a semi-automatic rifle, as a Christmas gift, even though the father received, quote, sufficient warning that Colt Gray would harm and endanger the bodily safety of another. Investigators citing multiple examples, including what they say was a shrine in the teenager's room dedicated to a previous mass shooter.
Still no sign of Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy, who went missing roughly 2 weeks ago. The Today Show host posted another video on social media urging whoever may have taken her mother to bring her home, saying, in part, it's never too late to do the right thing. ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett says investigators are still asking for tips, even if prior ones didn't lead anywhere.
The issue is the tipster may give you particular pieces of information that would maybe suggest that this is your bad guy, or this person may know where Nancy might be. And so many of them don't go anywhere, just like those two. That didn't surprise me. I've been up that road multiple times, but you keep at it.
Hollywood is condemning a super realistic looking AI video generator claiming copyright infringement. Here's ABC's Wayne Cabot.
It's already hard to tell when videos are real. Now it's becoming true of movies. It looks like Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt fighting, but it's artificial intelligence, a video generator from China's ByteDance, the TikTok creator. Seeing that clip, the writer of the Deadpool series, Rhett Reese, said, I hate to say it, it's likely over for us. Not if the union can help it. SAG-AFTRA says it stands with the studios, condemning this blatant infringement. ByteDance said Sunday it will strengthen safeguards. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can watch the show, Super Talk TV, up and running. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. We appreciate you doing so. Helping us grow the digital footprint of the radio station is a massive deal. Another massive deal is the party that we got coming up on the 24th, the Steak of the Union, Legend Steakhouse in Smyrna. We want you to join us. It's going to be an awesome evening. Matt Murphy's going to be doing his whole show out there live. Myself, Mandis, Benson, we're all going to be joining as well. We'll be digging into some steak. We'll also be watching the State of the Union from President Trump as he addresses Congress. And it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. Did you see the rage bait that we did? Did you notice that?
Which rage bait?
So we did this. How do you like your steak cooked?
Oh yeah.
So here's the thing. They asked me how I like my steak cooked, and I went, well done with ketchup. Okay.
The proper American way.
It's the only way to do it. And then I start seeing comments. People are like, what, Chris? What? Why would you do that? It's gross. Then it's like a couple seconds later in the video, I said, I'm just kidding. You're a communist if you like it that way.
Yes, sir.
You need to have it medium rare. And then I kid you not, like right before I said you're a communist if you like it that way, Dan actually does his unironically and says, well done with A1.
No.
Dan.
If you want jerky, go to the gas station.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Ugh.
I'm not here to roast Dan, but Dan, we got to fix that.
Yeah, we got to introduce you to seasoning and good food.
You don't need A1 if the steak is cooked right, guys.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Come on, man.
Low key, though, A1 on a burger from Cookout. Chef's kiss.
It's some good stuff.
It's good. That's how I do it.
Stuff.
If I go to Cookout, you get the grilled onions, you get the jalapenos, and you get A1. That's kind of my go-to every time. Not going to lie.
It's like, I like the spicy chicken sandwich over there. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Is that what you get suggested over there on Facebook?
No.
Oh. Sorry. It's just pro Zuck. Pro Zuck. All right, I want to talk about this.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I couldn't find it. I rearranged my hotkey so I could add more to them. I got your one you asked about during the break,
yeah. All right, hold on. So in case you missed it, during the commercial break, I said to Mason that we actually need some help because we did this AOC where she was in. Hold on, AOC. Let me find this real quick. AOC was in Munich, and she was asked about what happens if China invades Taiwan, and I had said to Mason, I said, we actually need this hotkey because it's the perfect time for it. So this was AOC in Munich.
The U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is a...
Today, Junior!
That's what we needed. That's what we needed. It's true. It's true.
Can't read through a simple script.
What are you doing?
Come on.
It's an absolute mess. Even harder to listen to AOC describe what we would do if China invaded Taiwan is listening to the mental gymnastics of the Democrats when they try and tell you that the SAVE Act is Jim Crow 2.0 and voter suppression. Chuck Schumer was doing his best job over the weekend. He was on State of the Union with Jake Tapper. State of the Union.
State of the Union.
It's not doing too good, actually. Chuck Schumer says it's full of racism and bigotry. Jim Crow 2.0.
About 83% of the American people, including majority Democrats, support voter ID laws.
Well, yeah, the voter ID laws that, first, each state can have its own voter ID laws, and some do and some don't. But secondly, what they are proposing in this so-called SAVE Act is like Jim Crow 2.0. They make it so hard to get any kind of voter ID that more than 20 million legitimate people, mainly poorer people and people of color, will not be able to vote under this law. We will not let it pass in the Senate. We are fighting it tooth and nail.
How so, Chuck? How? So that's what Scott Jennings did the other night on CNN. It absolutely diffused the entire argument. You just asked the question, how? How is this Jim Crow 2.0? How is this going to disenfranchise 20 million voters, especially the poor ones? How? They never explain the how. It's just, well, you're racist and you're a bigot, and this is Jim Crow 2.0. Jim Crow 2.0. Okay. Always with the hand-wringing. Always with the accusations. Yeah, but I think some people are coming around on it. We got the 50 votes plus J.D. Vance. I don't know if you've been keeping score at home. Senator Joni Ernst came in on it. We got Susan Collins out of Maine coming in on it. And essentially right now, all we need is to defeat the Dems in a standing filibuster, talk until they can't deal with it anymore, then bring J.D. Vance in for the tiebreaker, and we got the Save America Act passed. This is what we need. We could use a few more Republicans, to be perfectly honest with you. Senator Lisa Murkowski out of Alaska, she's still a no. She's still a hard pass on this Jim Crow 2.0. She says she opposes the Save America Act because Republicans have long opposed federalizing elections, which is hilarious because if you've been keeping score at home, she actually voted for the Democrats' 2021 voter reforms. They didn't end up passing, but she was the sole Republican to do so. It was the For the People Act, and it would have had automatic voter registration at places like the DMV, same-day voter registration, online voter registration, expanded early voting, no excuse absentee/mail-in voting, limit on voter roll purges, and restoration of voting rights for people with past felony convictions after completing sentences. Lisa Murkowski was in on that. She was the only Republican to be in on that. Who's got dirt on Lisa Murkowski, and what's the dirt? Does anybody know? It feels like she's got to have some dirt on her at this point. One Democrat might actually be voting for the SAVE Act. Maybe you've heard of him. His name is John Fetterman. Rep. Anna Paulina Luna on the weekend shows saying she thinks Fetterman is actually going to be in on this thing. This was Anna Paulina Luna.
Our senators work against their interests that they can vote them out at the ballot box, and that's exactly what this will do. So I am frankly behind every senator that is for the voter ID. I think that Senator Fetterman will likely vote for it as well. Again, thank you to Senator Collins, but Thune needs to bring it to the floor, and it needs to happen immediately.
Amen. I mean, it's all going to come down to Thune. And we all know that Thune is pretty much a rhino at this point. I think he's been efficiently and sufficiently exposed as a rhino. And you can go back, you can find old clips. Hey, will you support Donald Trump if he's the Republican nominee in 2024? He said, oh, gee whiz, I hope we have other choices. Yeah, well, he's your president now. You're still not supporting him. John Thune needs to step up and get his ass into gear. Anna Paulina Luna mentioned Fetterman. She thinks Fetterman is going to be a yes on the Save America Act. Fetterman was actually asked about it over the weekend, and he pushed back against other Democrats, Chuck Schumer, calling it Jim Crow 2.0. He didn't say he's 100% in, but he sounds a lot closer than he is further away.
Guest pointed out 84% of Americans have no idea with presenting IDs to vote. So it's not like a radical idea. It's not something, and there already are many states that show basic ID. So that's where we are in the Senate. So I would never refer to the SAVE Act as like Jim Crow 2.0 or some kinds of conspiracy. But that's part of the debate that we were having here in the Senate right now. And I don't call people names or imply that it's some kinds of things. Something gross about the terrible history of like Jim Crow.
So you're not there on the Save America Act specifically just yet, but you're there on the principle of voter ID. Is that what I'm hearing?
What I'm saying, though, that states, whether it's like Georgia or other states, you have ID to vote. That's not a radical idea. Now, some people can agree or disagree on that, but it is not a radical idea. And many states already do that. And Wisconsin already ratified that in their constitution. Wisconsin elected a very liberal justice, and now almost 2-1, they voted to produce ID to vote and put it in their constitution. Wisconsin, you have Baldwin, very liberal, and Johnson, very conservative. I mean, that's part of the pull and push about the American democracy.
Not 100% there. He's not willing to confirm that he's going to vote for it. Maybe it's one of those things where it's just going to come down to the wire, and then he's going to vote for the Save America Act. It wouldn't shock me if John Fetterman did. He does seem like one of the more reasonable Democrats, if there is such a thing. It's like kind of feels like an oxymoron, like saying jumbo shrimp. But here we are. Fetterman doesn't seem opposed to it. He's not willing to call it Jim Crow 2.0. And it seems like the radical portion of the Democrats, that's all they have. Well, that, and then John Thune, apparently, because John Thune just keeps making excuses. Anna Paulina Luna on the Maria Bartiromo show said, it's enough of these excuses. Can we stop? She pushed back against essentially all the excuses that's coming out of Thune's office.
I would actually argue back with him and politely correct him in that the talking filibuster was actually how the filibuster did work historically. And then there came kind of this perversion of what it's currently known as. And I would say, look, Maria, you have only a few jobs in Congress. One is to argue your ideas and the other is to vote. And so if they're saying that, you know, it's all these procedural hurdles and they have to allocate time for it and they might not have the ability to do that debate, I would say, look, you're in the Senate. It's a wonderful job. It's a privilege, and you should get to it. And so I would say that they need to actually embrace what the filibuster was, get back to what it traditionally stood for. And I think that every single member of a House and Senate that debates this issue will see that the American people bipartisanly want this, even Democrats. So if Democrats are watching this, the Republican Party is going to deliver on this for you. So remember that when you vote in the midterm.
I love how she says, essentially, John Thune, sir, get to work. Can you actually do something? Can you do something of note? Can you actually do some work? Now, there was a major hurdle when it came to the Save America Act. It's very racist, obviously, Jim Crow 2.0. But did you know it's also very sexist? Yes, 100%. Super sexist. Because women get married, guys. And then they change their last name. And then married women are disenfranchised to vote, because they changed their last name. As it turns out, the Save America Act is now letting states set up marriage certificates as part of the verification process. So that should be another hurdle cleared.
Well, we have a fact check on this one, too. First, let's note that under the Save America Act, states will have the option to set their own discretionary process. They may accept both a birth certificate and a marriage certificate to provide proof of name change. And guess what? I recently got a new marriage certificate, too. It was also quite easy. We're showing you the process on your screen right now. Again, just a few clicks, just a few minutes. And we've debunked those concerns of the left.
Weird how it only takes a few seconds, a few minutes to debunk the concerns of the left. Many such cases. I don't know if you knew this. Many such cases. Our senators, Senator Hagerty, Senator Blackburn, have been big supporters of the SAVE Act. Senator Hagerty, in particular, confirms that senators are discussing nuking that zombie filibuster so that way they can get the SAVE Act passed, and he said so over the weekend.
Thune will bring the SAVE Act to the floor. And what about this standing so-called talking filibuster scenario? Will that be enough for you to pass the SAVE Act in the Senate now that you have 50 votes, thanks to Susan Collins' support over the weekend?
Yeah, well, I want to first applaud Susan Collins for coming on board. That gives us the votes necessary to do it if we can get it to the floor. I think you know this. The American public are broadly in support of showing voter ID. It's a north of 80% issue for the American public. And you've got to ask yourself, who are the Democrats in the Senate representing? Over 70% of Democrats want this. Yet, we won't have a single Democrat that will support it. Why is that? You look no further than what they tried to push forward about 5 years ago with their H.R. 1, S1, the whole voting apparatus that they tried to come in and change to do away with voter ID across the nation, to enlist 16-year-olds to vote, felons to vote, using taxpayer dollars to support campaigns and, frankly, to pay their own candidates. So they're so detached from reality, it's just amazing. What the SAVE Act does is very simple. It simply requires what we require here in my home state of Tennessee. It codifies that to demonstrate that you are indeed an American citizen. In order to vote, you have to be qualified. And then when you go to the poll, you have to prove that you're yourself by showing an ID. That is not hard. That's not difficult. And it does not impinge on the state's constitutional abilities to set the time and manner and place of elections. It seems like it should be a no-brainer, but the reason that it's not is because the Democrats under the Biden administration flooded this country with tens of millions of illegal aliens. They want chaos in the elections. They want no voter ID. And so you've got to really ask yourselves, who do they represent? Why are they trying to do this? I think the American public is with us on this one. We're looking at the talking filibuster. It's something that has not been used in a long, long time. It's a complicated process, but I think we're going to look at every way we possibly can to get this to the floor, to defeat the Democrats' obstructionism, and do something that makes common sense for me.
That was Senator Bill Haggerty over the weekend on the Maria Bartiromo show. Everybody supports this. Everybody knows it. The only ones that are opposed to this are the radical leftist Democrats, and it's insanity. 100% insanity. Their voters support it. Why don't they? He also brought up the voting, the For the People Act that we talked about. Lisa Murkowski, she supported that. He's absolutely right. They're so happy with changing the way elections go, as long as it benefits them. If it benefits the American people, then there's a bit of an issue. Weird. 11:22. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at United Structural Systems. Every homeowner knows this, or if you're a homeowner, you should. When your foundation is compromised, nothing is going to feel right. A couple weeks ago, we had that severe weather, Winter Storm Fern. It brought freezing, it brought flooding, it brought heavy moisture across Tennessee. And when that soil becomes oversaturated, it's going through that freeze-thaw cycle, foundations are taking a hit. Make no mistake about it. This is why so many homeowners have been calling United Structural Systems. These guys have been doing the work since 1994, decades in the business. Thousands of Tennessee families have been helped, over 30,000 to be exact. They're going to be repairing and protecting foundations after the storms. Their focus is on doing the job right the first time so you can feel confident in your home again. USS is more than a foundation company. They're people who step up, and they're going to put that to use in March. They're going to be taking place in their 10th Habitat for Humanity build in Ashland City. 25 volunteers helping frame and install roof trusses for a family in need. This tells you everything you need to know about USS. If you've noticed cracks, moisture, shifting after severe weather, don't wait. Call the guys you can trust today. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems online, USSTN.com.
All right, we've got a crash blocking the right lane, 24 eastbound right there at the Eastern Split downtown. And then in Antioch, a crash, right lane blocked, 24 westbound before Harding Place. Roadwork has the right lane blocked, 40 eastbound between Fessler's Lane and the Eastern Split. And we've got opening statements in Georgia, where the father of a school shooting suspect faces trial today. This story and more at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. Mason Fleming is producing Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. AOC was not the only Democrat in Munich over the weekend. Alyssa Slotkin, Senator Alyssa Slotkin from the Mitten State, Michigan, was there as well. This is the same senator who was urging the military to not follow unlawful orders. She was one of the seditious six. I remember that video that was going viral a couple months back. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yep. No accountability. Nothing there. Nothing to be seen.
Nothing.
But she was in Munich, and she wants you to know that Donald Trump is going to steal the election.
I stand here as an American senator feeling very concerned about the 2026 elections in November. He is telling us what he wants to do. He is laying it out for us, and it is up to the Americans to believe him, right? That just like in 2020, he said, if I don't win, then it wasn't a free and fair election. He is repeating the playbook, now threatening to put uniformed federal agents around polling locations. I mean, he's telling us the playbook. So the question is, what are we going to do as Americans to defend our democracy that we helped invent? Okay? And that, to me, that process that's going on right now, which is playing out in front of all of you, it's not like we like coming here and talking to you about the difficulties in our own country. No one likes to do that. But it is playing out in front of you, and the question is, will the American people, and when will the American people feel like the issues of democracy are actually not someone else's issues, their kitchen table issues? They affect my everyday life, my safety, my family, my security.
You guys, we would never want to come here and tell you all of our problems. Playing the victim is not something that we do in the Democrat Party, but this is super serious, guys. Donald Trump is threatening armed military men around elections. Is he? Has that actually come out of his mouth? No, there's a conspiracy theory brought up by the left saying that they would have immigrations and customs enforcement officers at polling places. But I thought illegal aliens don't vote in elections. So what would be the issue with that? What Americans would be deterred? Does anybody know? Anyone? Still waiting for clarification on that. Again, that was Senator Alyssa Slotkin out of Michigan. She's insane. Just 100% absolutely insane. And let's also talk about we're facing an uphill battle in the midterms. Like to say that we're not is just ignoring historical precedent. The party in power has an uphill battle in the midterms. That's just how it works. He's going to steal it, you guys. This is really scary, and we all need to pay attention. Senator Katie Britt out of Alabama, she was talking about these Democrats out there in Munich, and she's like, I actually find it rich that they're in Munich talking about national security on the world stage, yet here back at home, it's these Democrats that are holding up the funding for our own DHS.
First, to kind of go back to your earlier point, this is obviously the president negotiating with Democrats. There's no one better on the border than President Trump. There's no one better on interior enforcement than President Trump, and there's no one better at making a deal than President Trump. And so when we look at our role, it's supporting that and elevating that. But what our Democratic colleagues have to realize is that we're not going to walk away from enforcing the law. And when they talk about these different things and they're looking at it, they know that it's kind of rich, to be honest with you, to watch so many of them having flown off to Munich to talk about national security on the world stage, but yet failing to fund our own here at home.
She's absolutely right. Mic drop moment from Senator Katie Britt on Fox News Sunday over the weekend. You're going to go on the world stage and talk about national security and how scared you are because of President Trump, yet meanwhile, you're abdicating your duties here to fund our own Department of Homeland Security. Got it. It's 11:31. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. And today, opening statements start in Georgia, where the father of a school shooting suspect faces trial. Colin Gray, the father of Colt Gray, being charged with 29 criminal counts, including second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter. Prosecutors say he supplied the murder weapon, even though there were signs his son would inflict harm with it. We get more from ABC's Faith Abube.
The deadly rampage unfolding in September 2024. Investigators say the teenager entered Appalachia High School with the AR-15 style rifle in his backpack and unleashed terror in the building. His father's trial coming as prosecutors across the country are increasingly holding parents liable for their children's alleged involvement in school shootings. Jennifer and James Crumbly were the first to be convicted in the U.S. after their son Ethan killed 4 students inside a Michigan high school.
Still no sign of Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy, who went missing roughly 2 weeks ago. The Today Show host posting another video on social media urging whoever may have taken her mother to bring her home, saying in part, it's never too late to do the right thing. ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett says the camera footage outside Nancy's door and the alleged ransom notes point to inconsistencies in this case.
It strikes me as odd, working a number of kidnapping cases, that you would have what appears to be a lone actor, in my view, analyzing the guy at the front door of Nancy's house versus the email folks who basically didn't set up any way for Savannah directly to communicate with them. They didn't go to her. They went to the media. They wanted a lot of money, and they never provided proof of life.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes in Vaults in Shelbyville. We talk about these guys all the time because they are the absolute best. Parker Safes in Vaults in Shelbyville carries real safes, including UL-rated TL and TR safe. These are tested and certified to resist tool and torch attacks. That's the kind of protection that you want for firearms, cash, jewelry, precious metals, but also passports and photo albums and the things that you don't want to lose because they can't be replaced. Aaron Parker runs the business the old-fashioned way. This is veteran-owned, a Christian, family-run business serving Tennessee since 2009. These guys are answering their phones, they show up on time, and they only sell products that they would trust in their own home. This is a key difference. One of my favorite things about Aaron and his team is they break down every safe they have in stock with a detailed video review on their YouTube page. You just search for Parker Safes on YouTube, and you can find the safe that is perfect for your home before you even hit the showroom. They deliver and service Nashville and the surrounding areas. Shelbyville is not another country. They can come to you. Give them a call today, 931-842-6445. That's 931-842-6445. And ParkerSafes.com has the entire inventory, so just click ParkerSafes.com. 11:38, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. We got Ken Weaver in the newsroom. We got Mason Fleming executive producing this whole thing.
Executive producing.
And I heard that you're trading. You're trading teams. You're switching it up on me.
Well, hold on. They needed a fill-in player.
Oh, Mason is going to be filling in for Bell K during the Chad Benson experience today.
Hanging out. I'm here for the day.
Are you going to channel your inner Bell? Are you going to be a little bit disgruntled about everything?
Might be a little sarcastic.
And not show your face on any cameras?
Oh, absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
I think you'll fit right in.
I'm growing my hair out for it, so I might as well.
Okay, can I talk about your hair for a second? I don't mean to do this.
No, do it. Do it.
Mason's got like the Gen Z fro thing going on.
Yeah, it's a little.
And I was telling my wife,
hair doesn't know what to do.
If you're watching this on Super Talk TV, let me show you what I see from Mason. He's wearing a hat today, so let the record show. I haven't seen it today.
It's contained.
But when Mason is not wearing a hat, this is what I see. This is what I see every 30 to 50 seconds. I see a little shoulder shimmy. And he just gets the head going, and then I see the hair, the fingers go straight up, and he's massaging this fro. I don't understand why he does the fro massage, but he's always massaging the fro. You're like one of the Gen Z kids.
I just don't like it on my face, and I'm growing it out because I don't know what I'm doing with my hair.
He does the shimmy.
I don't do the shimmy all the time.
You do the shimmy all the time.
No.
Like, honestly, I would think that you had like a bit of the yips if I didn't know better, because you're just shaking back there.
Just shaking, just shimmering.
You're just shaking.
Well, I mean, to be fair, last week we had some very hard conversations.
What did we have hard conversations about last week?
We talked in depth on the Epstein stuff, and deep dived into that.
Yeah,
big conversations.
He's just shimmying his hair,
just shimmy, a little shake,
the little Mason shimmy. My wife was cracking up. I was like, "This is Mason all the time," and he's up in the fro. Looks good.
Maybe
though.
Maybe I'll stay on the chat show.
I think it looks good though. I think it looks good. I think it looks good.
Yeah, I'm growing it out. Try to see what I'm gonna do because
I think you need cornrows. I think you need cornrows. I think
I was leaning dreads,
dude. I like real
white
talk.
guy dreads.
If anybody wants to, we should start a GoFundMe, and let's get Mason cornrows.
If we're starting a GoFundMe, can we get me a new car?
Okay, one step at a time. Let's focus on the cornrows. Let's focus on the cornrows first.
Let's
all
keep
right?
things in order of importance here.
I want cornrows for Mason at the State of the Union, dude. You look sick.
You paying for my steak?
If you get cornrows for the Stake of the Union on the February 24th, tickets are still available at 997wtn.com.
Yes, sir.
I will buy you your steak.
By that, I demand corn.
Yes.
It just makes sense.
Steamed or creamed?
Steamed.
All right.
Maybe.
On the cob? Do you eat it the long way? It's time for the lightning round.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
Every day at this time, we talk about all the stories that wouldn't fill a whole segment, stories that we didn't want to miss, but we ran out of time, and we like to call it the lightning round. We got some good ones today. Oh, we got some good ones today. Where do we begin?
I don't know.
I want to. Okay, the first two stories are black excellence. Okay. So you tell me which route we go to for black excellence. We in one corner, we have Barack Hussein Obama. In the other corner, we have Jasmine Crockett.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say Hakeem Jeffries, and I was like,
No.
Tell me the difference between these two images.
I said excellence.
That's fair. That's fair.
I said excellence, not mediocrity.
That's fair.
So which I'll let you choose. Dealer's choice. Do we go Obama first, or do we go Crockett first?
Let's check it with Obama. I feel like we've been talking about old Crockett a lot. People be texting.
People be
texting every time we talk about Jasmine. They don't think it'd be like it is, but it do. First story in the lightning round. This comes from Munich over the weekend. Barack Hussein Obama. Aliens are real, but I haven't seen them.
Well,
What's that you say? Aliens are real, but Barack has not seen them.
So I want to do a little bit of a lightning round here because it's not often I'll get access to the President of the United States. So
He jacked my whole thing. Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
I was hesitant.
This is Bizarro World Chris. Just so you know.
Not a fan.
Not a fan. Just jacking my whole steez. Anyway. All right.
A couple questions here. Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51. There's no underground facility, unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the President of the United States.
What was the first?
They're real, but he hasn't seen them. They're real, but he hasn't seen them. I think aliens are real. Do you think aliens are real?
Probably. Such a vast universe.
I don't think of them in the same way as, coming from different planets. I go a little bit more Alex Jones, interdimensional space demons. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it.
You ever hear the story of the dudes that got the first night vision goggles?
Oh, seeing the shapes and stuff?
And they were in red?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like they had to take them off because they all got a bit spooked because they could see demons?
Yeah.
Do you ever see that?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
It's a little freaky.
Yeah. I also think sometimes this is just me. This is deep thoughts with Chris.
What's new?
I'll see a spaceship, and I have, by the way.
I have. It's there.
I have, and I'm like, is that a spaceship, or is that a time traveler? I think it's a time traveler.
Futuristic planes.
I think so. I've seen some things though. Have you ever seen anything like that kind of makes you bug out a little bit?
Yeah. Like I've seen those, those black rings that form in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen one in person, and I was like, it just, yeah. On footage online, it all looks like it's like, no, maybe that's fake. Maybe it's just a fire gone wrong, smoke forming in the air. And I saw it form, and I was like, okay.
We were on our way to the Outer Banks in North Carolina. It was like 3:30 in the morning. It was my wife and I, and the kids were all asleep in the back. And we saw what looked like a ship of some sort move across the night sky. And it had like this triangle trail behind it that was like ever expanding. And I kid you not, the color of the night sky just changed after it moved through.
Interesting.
And it like stayed that color the rest of the drive. Very spooky. Very spooky.
Maybe it was somebody running their finger across the screen on the simulation.
So I think, I think, a lot of today's show has been two things can be true at once, right?
True.
I think Obama's telling the truth when he said that aliens are real. And I also think that he's lying when he says that he hasn't seen them.
Yeah. They probably hung out.
Probably chilled.
Yeah.
Probably chilled. Kicked it. Had a Corona. Even the aliens knew not to go paddleboarding with him, though. Got another story for you here in the lightning round.
That's the proper person.
You like that? You like that?
That's how you do it.
That's how we do it, baby. Jasmine Crockett. This one, I don't really. There's not a lot of context for this. All I know is that this deserves to be a new drop for the Chris Hand Show. Are you ready for this? You've heard the saying, "Democracy dies in darkness." Okay. Well, she was on a podcast on Friday. Jasmine Crockett was, and it's from the Black Girls Politicking podcast. Obviously, it's the number one podcast for black girls that be politicking, and it spells it politicking, T-I-C-K.
I was about to say
politicking. And this clip went viral because she wants everybody to know that, like, democracy dies in darkness, but if Jasmine Crockett goes to sleep, then it's definitely going to die. So she doesn't sleep.
I also want to show up when I can, but I still have a full-time job that I was elected to do, and I am still showing up every single day at work while also trying to make sure that Texans know that I am serious about earning their support. So I am team no sleep right now. But you know what? Democracy can't wait. And if I go to sleep, democracy may very well die.
Okay, it's a hell of a statement. Jasmine Crockett's on a meth bender because if she goes to sleep, democracy very well could die.
If I go to sleep, democracy may very well die.
It's just, people don't think it'd be like it is, but it do. And we are grateful to the selflessness and just the stunning courageousness of one Jasmine Crockett. I didn't think it'd be like it is, but it do.
If I go to sleep, democracy may very well die.
We applaud you for your efforts. We're lucky to have her. We are Team No Sleep, and the selflessness of one Jasmine Crockett shouldn't be understated. We're not joking about it. We're grateful for it.
And if I go to sleep, democracy may very well die.
Don't let her fall asleep.
Can't do it.
We can't. We can't have a sleeping beauty situation in this political climate with Jasmine Crockett.
What would happen if the Democrats would have to shut down the government?
Yeah. It would be chaotic.
They've never done that before.
No.
Because Jasmine's always awake.
Not all heroes wear capes, but they do be texting. All right, I got another story for you here in the lightning round. This one's pretty good. I like this one. Nancy Krause is her name. She went to a school board meeting in Calvert County, Maryland, because the students in this school district had the audacity to start a Turning Point USA chapter. And Nancy, she's just going off about this. And towards the end of her speech, she lets everybody know that she reported the students that started the Turning Point USA chapter to Child Protective Services. You heard me correct. The audacity of these kids, they must have abusive parents. They've been reported to Child Protective Services. I know that calms a lot of people down before we play the clip, that we can't let these kids get away with starting Turning Point chapters. We have to report them to Child Protective Services. This is Nancy Krause.
Good evening. I'm going to go off script here and say congratulations, Dr. Newsom. And in the announcement of your position, it was said, we hope you will be more inclusive. I agree. I would like the anti-racism statement returned. In December of 2025, Turning Point USA hosted an event marketed to high school students with food and beverages advertised as an incentive for attendance.
Now she goes on for about a minute and a half here. And I think it's important to point out that food and beverages, that's like the gateway drug to conservatism. I don't know if you knew this. Pizza and Sprite, that's basically cigarettes and gambling at this point. This is very dangerous stuff that we're dealing with.
Slippery slope.
It is. And the high fructose corn syrup, those kids don't know what they're putting into their body. So it's a good starting spot to call Child Protective Services.
Oh, yeah.
100%. She's still talking, by the way, because she's very upset. She said she was going off script, and then she proceeded to read the entire script.
I am also concerned about a potential conflict of interest involving Board of Education members serving as guest speakers at this event. Board members are entrusted with fiduciary and ethical responsibilities and participation in
You know, it's not a tangent when you write it down, right?
Yeah, and it's like clearly these guys are unethical for wanting to celebrate America.
compliance with district policies, ethics guidelines, and public trust obligations. Students are widely recognized as vulnerable population. They are in critical developmental stages and especially susceptible to influence. For this reason, safeguarding measures, parental involvement, and transparency are essential. All Board of Education members in this room are mandated reporters under state law, as I am. Based on the circumstances surrounding this event, a report was made to Child Protective Services. All of this was provided along with.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you. Stunning and brave. So here's the thing I ask, yes, it's very, very influenceable, these kids at these ages. Do you keep the same energy when you see the high schools with the ICE protests? Do you? Because I saw one from Baltimore on Friday, which I would assume is near Calvert County because Maryland is the size of Maryland.
Yeah.
So in Baltimore, these kids, they can't read. They can't do math. And it's some of the most expensive public education in the entire country, if not the most expensive. I haven't checked the numbers in a while, but I know it's like the last I checked, it was a couple of years ago, it was like $17,000 per kid, which is just astronomical, especially when those kids can't read. They're leaving the Baltimore schools, and then they're stopping traffic and waving other countries' flags and cursing at people and causing all sorts of unruly behavior. Do you report those kids to Child Protective Services too? Do you bring the same energy? People want to know. People want to know. Got time for one more story here in the lightning round. And this is a big one. I mean, I'm sure all of you are familiar with Aaron Stokes. He was the head of Eurofix. He was a Tennessee auto industry leader, and he had a radio show here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It was early Friday morning. His plane crashed on Emerald Mountain near Steamboat Springs, Colorado. And Aaron Stokes lost his life along with his 21-year-old son, Jackson Stokes, his nephew and his son's cousin, 21-year-old Colin Stokes, and their friend, 37-year-old Austin Husky, perishing in that plane crash. And we just want to send just a heartfelt, remembrance to Aaron, and thank you for the years that he had here on Super Talk and the years that he's done great work in the community. Send our well wishes, our prayers, and all of our love to the family. An incredibly hard time. I can't imagine what they're going through. But fixing cars was just an absolute fixture here on Super Talk for years. So we want to just say rest in peace, Aaron. Rest in peace, Colin. Rest in peace, Jackson. Rest in peace, Austin. And we'll be praying for you guys. And we hope that the company continues to thrive for Aaron. The mission changes a little bit, but there's a lot of strong people that are going to be able to pick up those pieces and keep going. And we pray that it continues to be as successful as it was with Aaron at the helm. And we just wish him and his family all the best as they navigate through this. Rest in peace, Aaron. And thank you for what you did here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 11:59, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Chad Benson's in here taking over the reins. Mason Fleming he's Marathon Mason today.
I know. I walked in. I'm like, so no Bell today? He goes, hold on. Let me check. Oh, whoa. I thought that was next week. I guess not. Thanks for telling us, Bell.
Well, at least Mason is all hubbed up on hot chocolate and espresso.
From our buddy.
Wally's,
right now.
Wally's bean machine out here.
Oh, my Lord. That stuff. Last week, I was like, I'm so pumped about this. Got our cups. We're ready to rock and roll.
We're cooking with gas.
Yeah, I walked in there. I'm like, how you doing? He's like, I'm doing fine. We're doing good. We had a lot of espressos today. Everything's good. Everything's good. We're going to be good. We're going to be good.
What are you talking about on the show?
Aliens.
Did you hear?
By the way, how's that not the biggest story in the world? He tried to kind of half-ass walk it back. I'm sorry. It's too late. You know it. We all know it.
No, I know why nobody's paying attention to it.
Yeah.
It's because Jasmine Crockett made this statement over the weekend, too.
If I go to sleep, democracy may very well die.
So everybody's been freaking out about that.
I had no idea.
We have to keep her awake.
Got to get her some of Wally's.
We got to get her some of this Wally's bean machine. That's the only way to keep her awake. Chad's in next. Aliens. Interdimensional space demons, actually.
They're here.
12 o'clock. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.